The Australian Research Council's Hub for Supercharging Tropical Aquaculture through Genetic Solutions is a major consortium funded by the Australian Government that involves James Cook University, the University of Queensland, the Australian Genome Research Facility and 4 industry aquaculture partners, all with the common mission to utilise genetic approaches to increase productivity and resilience of tropical aquaculture species. Tropical aquaculture globally accounts for 70% of production. However, very few tropical aquaculture species have been genetically improved. So our mission within the Research Hub is to use the power of genetics to transform tropical aquaculture species farmed in Australia.
Since 1990, global aquaculture has been one of the fastest growing food sectors worldwide, experiencing an astounding growth of over 500%. Today, nearly half of the world's fish production comes from aquaculture, employing 20.5 million people. The rise of aquaculture is driven by increasing demand for animal protein, supported by the decline of wild fisheries and the growing global population, which is projected to reach 10 billion by 2050. Aquaculture is extremely diverse, both in the species that are raised within the production systems, but also across the environments in which they operate. Some of the major challenges that they find in their operating systems is stuff like health and disease, looking at increasing productivity, increasing the efficiencies of feeds, but also looking across breeding and establishing breeding programs, as well as improving existing ones.
The Research Hub is quite unique in that it's a consortium that brings together skill sets in quantitative genetics, AI, aquatic animal health, microbiome research, working with our industry partners with species like barramundi, grouper, pearl oysters and the red seaweed Asparagopsis, all really focused on with the one intent to implement genetics on farm in a way that allows these industry partners to increase their productivity and resilience.
Our aims are to apply the latest or even develop the latest genetic tools to improve productivity in tropical aquaculture. A lot of this has been applied to temperate systems such as salmon, but tropical aquaculture has occurred usually with much less investment, with very little background information, and the tools that we need to improve it don't exist at the moment. So our first aim is to develop the genetic tools to be able to support the future improvements in productivity in tropical aquaculture. The majority of aquaculture that occurs worldwide is in the tropics. The requirement for food is in the tropics. So if we can produce food where it's required, we massively reduce the food miles. If we can improve productivity, we massively reduce the carbon import, the amount of losses that occur in aquaculture. So we're trying to drive, really, food security globally for the future.
For us, we have a target to continue to grow and to be able to produce fish in a range of different environments. So the genetics is critical to making sure we have the right fish selected for the right environment. And by doing that, in terms of sustainability, it's not only a matter of having faster growing fish and more profitable for us, it also requires less food, so it's a more sustainable way to produce fish.
Well, our industry is a multi-species type of industry, so there's a lot of research needed and a lot of potential and capacity there to increase the growth rates and value of different food stock. So giant grouper in particular, or Queensland groper, has a lot of potential there as an aquaculture species and also being untapped for the genetic benefits that could be unleashed.
Yeah, well, our industry is currently facing really, I guess, 2 main challenges at a production level. One is that in a lot of different environments there are different diseases which are affecting the continuity of production. So certainly genetics can help create fish that are more resilient to diseases. And the other area is again around improved efficiency on the farms, the need to use less feed. Part of the problem with aquaculture is we're producing more waste. So anything we can do more efficiently and manage our waste stream better, it allows or unlocks the opportunity for growth.
The genetics has come in quite late for our business because we're quite young. So we see a lot of potential in the future for genetics and genetic selection. And it's a tricky one for us because we're a small business with not the same resources in scale of operations with number of broodstock. So it takes some specialist work to do that, and that can only really be done through a collaboration with the universities.
So the hub has two main themes. Theme 1 is developing all of the genetic tools, and theme 2 is investigating the animal health aspects that will feed into using those genetic tools. We have 8 work packages across the entire project, and those work packages have been formed with consultation with our industry partners.
The theme that I mainly work in is breeding for productivity, and its aim is essentially to develop all the genetic knowledge and tools that are needed to do selective breeding programs in aquaculture species. We want to, within this theme, bring these industries that we are working with to the level seen for livestock and crops in terms of the knowledge and use of genetics.
I lead the theme on microbiomes and how microbiomes helps the aquaculture industry. And so we know our microbial community is very important for human health. And so there's been a revolution now understanding how microbiomes play a role in all animal health. So our role and our job is actually understand how the microbiomes actually help fish and improve fish aquaculture. And so what we're looking at is what's that link? Do the microbes help? Can we manipulate the microbiome to actually improve the aquaculture outcomes? And essentially, can we modulate the microbiome and engineer the microbiome that improves fish health, fish outcomes, fish production, for example?
Work Package 4 primarily focuses on developing the genetic and genomic tools needed to undertake genomic selection. To do this, we sequence a bunch of individuals from the species within the hub to develop genetic arrays for which we can genotype over the entire population. Once we have these arrays, they can be used to develop the genetic data that we need for the breeding program components, but also additional interests that the industry partners may have. For example, they can be used to determine the relatedness between the broodstock that they hold on farm and make sure that they don't breed individuals that are more related to one another.
Work Package 2, this is AI for quantitative phenotyping and also for predictive analytics. Quantitative phenotyping is how can we use AI to use images or videos or other medium of information, process them quickly in real time to capture the required information. Here, the information, the traits that we are interested in is, for example, can we detect the size or predict the size or weight of a fish from its videos or images, and that can happen in real time, and we have done that. Or it can be predictive analytics. We look at the fish species, the pond information, the genetic information that are available, and based on that we do predictive analytics of the growth, morbidity and other factors that can affect the sustainability of the industry.
My particular theme is working on improving productivity of animal health. So that's improving the microbiome using diet manipulation, improving disease resistance by identifying particular genes that might be responsible for resistance to particular diseases in aquaculture, working out ways to preserve gametes. If we do identify strains that are resistant, we need to be able to breed those animals. And one of the challenges of that is, these disease-resistant traits are very complex and they involve lots of different genes, so we get a small number of individuals that may host those genes. If that fish then dies, we've lost the gene that we've been trying to identify. So being able to preserve the gametes from that fish allows us to have some sort of insurance.
So we expect the ASC Hub to to have a transformative impact in aquaculture, particularly in Northern Australia. Some of these key impacts include increasing the economic value. For example, by 2030, we expect tropical aquaculture to have increased 6 times. Further impacts include enhanced international competitiveness, optimised production, and training future leaders. This hub is really involved in training experts across all the fields we operate, including aquaculture genetics. And finally, we hope to ensure long-term sustainability within aquaculture.
What we are doing in the Research Hub is a vision for the future for all tropical aquaculture, where the use of genetics will be able to be implemented on farm in sustainable and efficient ways and transform our productivity under the blue economy agenda.